My name is Dan Bauer. Uh, we're live here every Tuesday at 10 a.m. for one simple reason: to tell you everything that could possibly go wrong so that you can avoid it. And why do we know what that is? Well, we are SERVPRO, and we're the people that you call when things go wrong or when things are really gross, or your house burns down, or you just don't want to deal with it. So we see all sorts of things, and hopefully we can help you out. And today, we've got a special edition. It's the first of the month. So it's our disaster forecaster. And what this is something pretty simple. We've got all sorts of data. We've been at this for 26 years, all over Western New York. All sorts of data about what goes wrong every single month. And we crunch the numbers so that we can tell you what you should expect in the upcoming month. And May is unfortunately going to be kind of gross. We talked already a couple weeks ago about how April showers bring May flowers, right? And it's a cute little poem, but unfortunately, April showers also bring May mold. And that's not really rocket science. Why, right? You've got more moisture, you've got heat increasing, you've got humidity increasing. And so that moisture is already present in the home potentially, and then the conditions change and microbial growth starts to occur. And hopefully it doesn't look as gross as it does in this picture. Hopefully you catch it in time, but it still happens, and we're still starting to deal with it right now, and we expect to deal with it more in May. Mold itself is one of the most confusing subjects that we deal with here, confusing for people, and it's not really a mystery why. There is a ton of information out there about mold. If you Google mold, I do not suggest you do it, you're going to find all sorts of articles telling you that it's going to kill you, that it's super dangerous, and then you're also going to find articles saying it's totally fine, it's normal, it's naturally occurring. And unfortunately, both of those things are true. There are over 100,000 strains of mold out there. Some may affect you in different ways, especially if you have underlying vulnerabilities. It can be really hard from a quick Google search to figure out how you should react if you find mold in your home. People have been trying to figure out how to deal with it for as long as there have been people. In fact, the first known mold remediation plan ever written is in the Bible. It's in the Old Testament in Leviticus 14. And it's actually not too bad. It calls for disposing of contaminated building materials, inspection, a very detailed scraping process. But despite the fact that this mold kind of has been occurring and bothering people in their homes for that long, it's really only gotten that bad in the past, say, 100 years. And you guys are going to hate me for saying this, because I'm going to sound like a real millennial, but you can trace it back to the baby boomers. Specifically, don't blame me for that, it's the post-World War II baby boom, right? You've got people coming back from the war, there's a lot of money coming into the economy, there is now a huge demand for new housing. People want to buy houses, build lives. And the developers who are building those houses, they need to build them fast, and they need to build them efficiently, and they want them to be cheap so they can make a dime. So they decide, why are we building all these houses with plaster and stone when we could be building them with drywall? And as you probably know, drywall it's a gypsum board, it's compressed, and on each side of it is this durable paper, which you can paint, and it's nice. Here's the problem with paper. It's like a buffet for mold. It's like the golden corral for mold. It's an organic material, and now all of a sudden every wall of everybody's house is covered head to toe in it. So mold is very happy, and all of a sudden you see mold growth starting in all of these new homes. Basically every home that's popped up since like 1945 has drywall in it and has the potential for mold to grow basically in every single room. I will take the hit on the next one, because what's made this even worse, and especially the past 30 years, and again, I'll take the hit as a millennial, right, is energy efficiency. And energy efficiency is a beautiful thing, of course. Nobody wants to pay more on their heating bills. But a big part of it is making the envelope of your house more closed off. Less heat loss, less air circulation, tons of insulation in the walls. And that's all typically a good thing, except for the fact that because there's less airflow, mold can grow in all sorts of places where normally it probably wouldn't. So you can have these huge concentrations of biological contamination behind your walls that you might not even know about until they really start to show. And that's probably not going to change. Just like drywall isn't going to change. People are going to keep building with it. Homes and buildings are going to become more energy efficient. Those two things by themselves are generally good things, but they lead to conditions that cause more and more mold to grow. And we have certainly seen that here at SERVPRO. There's more mold out there. There's probably going to be more mold as certain energy efficient practices become more popular. And that's just kind of the way it is. And we're certainly going to see that happening more in May. But here's the real question that everybody asks me, and this is the most confusing and frustrating one of all. Is that mold actually dangerous? Is it going to affect your health? Now, the sheer variety of mold strains and the underlying conditions that can lead to people having a reaction to those strains makes it impossible to issue any kind of blanket statement saying mold is dangerous, mold is not dangerous. It's a complicated, nuanced question. Even the most notorious strain of mold, which I think I got a picture of here. I do not. But so-called black mold, right? And I'm going to butcher the technical term for it. It's Stachybotrys chartarum. Excuse me. That is the subject of some controversy. The reason that black mold has such a bad rap is because in the 90s it was associated with a rash of infant deaths in Cleveland. There were respiratory issues for these infants, and the only actual commonality between all of these outbreaks was the presence of this strain of mold. But there was no causal link was actually found, and even that initial study is up for dispute. So nobody can really be sure scientifically how this mold affects people, if it's dangerous, what to do if you find it, and you cannot even visually identify it. So it's confusing. Mold is confusing. It's very frustrating to deal with. I will give you the best advice that I can, considering that this is a nuanced and delicate subject, and it's that you should probably err on the side of caution. If you have mold in your house, especially if it's a significant area of growth, usually we say, New York State says anyway, that it's around 10 square feet or more. The best thing you can do is don't disturb it, don't take that wall out. Call a New York State certified mold assessor. That's a third party. We have a couple that we can certainly recommend, and what they can do is come in and actually tell you what type of growth you're dealing with, if it's dangerous, if you have raised spore levels in the air that are greater than what you'd see outside. They'll be able to tell you if you have an issue. From that report, A, you'll know what you're actually dealing with, and B, then you can bring in a remediator who can actually deal with it. And we are, as SERVPRO, we're certified New York State mold remediators. And legally that has to be a separate company, a separate entity than the folks who do that assessment. And that's why there's so much regulation around this topic. There's so many moving bits and pieces. It can be really confusing for folks. But erring on the side of caution, taking care of your family, taking care of your home is generally a good idea, especially when you've got a significant outbreak. Because this is a confusing topic, and it can be dangerous, and you want to make sure that you've got the facts on your side before you really make any decisions. So, unfortunately, May is going to be a moldy month. If I can leave you with one piece of advice, by the way, don't spray bleach on it. It doesn't work. It's a huge myth, and maybe I'll do another show in the future telling you why. But be careful for sure. And that's my bit. We're going to get to the part that everybody likes the most, and that is the prize drawing. So, you guys know the deal here. Let me just make sure this is good. Yeah. So, we do something called the SERVPRO Mug Club, and who's on here? Let's just take a look. I've said hi to some of you guys. Sean, Lisa, Hallie, Kristen, who else is here? Diane, Jennifer, Jackie, Lisa, Melissa, Nicole, Jennifer, Danielle, Michael, and anybody else out there watching, good morning. You guys know the deal here. If you're in part of the SERVPRO Mug Club, you've got a number, and if you're not a part of the Mug Club, shoot me a comment, shoot me a message, let me know. I'll get you on there. Your number is on this wheel, and we've got quite a few at this point. If you're watching, you will win a double prize if your number is called. The only way I can know if you're watching is if you leave me a comment, because I can't see. So say good morning, say mold is gross, say mold is scary, say mold isn't scary. Everything's true. It's kind of a weird topic, and I am going to draw that prize right now. Here we go. We're spinning. Where will we land? Looks like we got it in the 300s. There are a lot of names on there. 373. Who is that? That's going to be... Oh, Hallie! Hey! You won! So that's Hallie from Allstate. And congratulations